I was standing in line at a pharmacy when I saw it. A grainy group photo on Facebook, everyone dressed in black. Mom's smile was tight. My sister wore heels I had seen before, the ones she said were too uncomfortable for long events. My uncle's arm was around my cousin. Even the baby had a black headband. And right there in the caption, like it was just another family barbecue. "We'll miss you, Dad. Rest well." I blinked so hard it blurred the shelves. I scrolled back up. They buried my grandfather. And I didn't even know he had died. My phone shook a little in my hand. I wasn't sure if it was my fingers or if the world was just coming undone slowly, like how the last thread in a sweater pulls until it's all gone. I stood there, silent. No tears. No scream. Just that slow, crawling realization that no one had told me. Not a call. Not a message. Not even a forwarded obituary. I left the allergy meds in the cart. I walked home in a daze, the way people do in war films. Quiet, shocked, still breathing. When I was small, Sunday evenings were ours. Grandpa would make peppermint tea and open his window just a little. He said the air felt better when you could smell the neighbor's jasmine. I'd sit on his lap with my workbook, and he'd teach me math by turning it into games with marbles and matchsticks. I used to think he was magic. Every time I got a high score or drew a picture, I'd tuck it into the folder he kept under his bed. "No one else sees this till you're grown," he'd say, grinning. "This is just for us." He was the only one who came to my spelling bee final in 7th grade. Mom said she had a work thing. My sister forgot. He came with a red thermos and whispered, "You're already my champion." When I got older and left home for uni, I still visited. He was slower by then, his hands more papery, but his eyes, those never lost their warmth. He would always say, "When I go, I want you there." And I'd laugh, shake my head. "You're not going anywhere." I called my mom. The first time, no answer. The second time, it rang once, then voicemail. By the third, it went straight to that mechanical voice. "The number you are trying to reach." She blocked me. It hit me. Not like a punch, but like a slow tide pulling the sand out. From under my feet, I tried texting my sister. "Is it true?" No answer. So I messaged my cousin, the one in the photo. She replied within minutes. "Hey, I thought you knew. It was last Thursday. I'm so sorry. They told everyone you didn't want to come." I stared at that message. For a long time. They told everyone you didn't want to come. Like I had just refused. Like I was so cold. I wouldn't show up for the only person who ever made me feel like I belonged. I felt something inside me close. Like a door that would never open again. It took me 2 weeks to build up the courage to drive back. Not for them. For him. I didn't even tell anyone I was coming. I just showed up at his old house, my grandfather's house, the one with the green shutters and the rusted mailbox that still had my stickers on the side. The door was unlocked. Everything was different. His armchair was gone. The table he used to write letters on had been replaced with a white IKEA desk. My sister's voice echoed down the hall, on the phone with someone. She was laughing. Laughing. I didn't speak. I just walked to his bedroom like a ghost. The bed had new sheets, clean, untouched. But the floorboard near the foot creaked the same way. I lifted it. The folder was still there. Faded blue plastic. Worn edges. And inside, Every single thing I had given him. Drawings, test papers, letters, even a photo of us with our fingers covered in ink from when we tried to build our own stamps. The last page was a note in his handwriting. If they forget her, this will remind her she was always seen. Would you like me to continue with part 5? This will explore the aftermath of her silent withdrawal, her subtle refusal to speak to them again, and the emotional reclaiming of her place in his memory. I didn't say goodbye when I left the house. My sister didn't notice me slip out. Her voice was still bouncing through the hallway, talking about centerpieces for some baby shower. She was already moving on. The folder was tucked against my chest like armor. I sat in the car for a while, engine off, staring at the front steps, where I used to eat popsicles with Grandpa, his knees folded beside mine, always careful not to let the drips hit the concrete. I wondered if they even let him be buried with anything. A photo, a scarf, one of his little pocket notebooks. Or if it was all clean, all presentation, no memory, just linen suits and folded programs. Back at my apartment, I laid the folder on my bed. I didn't open it again that night. Instead, I sat by the window with a mug of tea and opened my phone. My fingers hovered over my sister's name, then over my mother's. My drafts folder was full of messages I never sent. Why didn't you tell me? Did you think I wouldn't care? He was the only one who ever saw me. You lied to everyone. You made me invisible. But none of them felt worth it. None of them would change anything. Their silence had already spoken louder than any reply. So I opened a new draft. This time, not for them. Just for me. He kept everything. Every little thing I ever gave him. They erased me, but he didn't. So I won't ask for space at their table anymore. I have my own, and he's still at the head of it. A week later, I bought a frame. It wasn't anything fancy. Just a black wooden one with soft glass, clean corners. I placed the photo of us, the one with ink-smudged fingers and messy smiles, right at the center. I put it on my bookshelf, between the poetry books he used to read, and for the first time in weeks, I felt something like breath. Not relief, not peace, but presence. He was still here, just not in a way they'd understand. Later that day, a message came through from my aunt. Sorry for your loss, dear. We didn't know how to reach you. I read it twice, then muted the thread. They had my number. They always had. But silence was easier for them. No confrontation, no discomfort. Just packaging grief neatly and excluding the ones that made them feel guilty. I think they thought I wouldn't notice, that I wouldn't mind. But that's the thing about being the quiet one. You notice everything. Thanksgiving came like it always does. Too early, too loud, too full of traditions that were never mine. The family group chat pinged once, then twice. Photos of pies, table settings, one with my cousin's toddler smashing mashed potatoes with her fists. No one mentioned Grandpa's empty chair. No one asked where I was. They used to assign me the place cards, back when I still showed up. Now there wasn't one for me at all. I made lentil soup that evening, alone. No fancy garnishes. No need to impress. Just a single bowl, a clean spoon, and the frame beside me on the table. His smile propped between two candlesticks I found at a thrift store. I lit one. The wax pooled slowly, quietly. I imagined he would have said something about the smell, too floral or not enough sandalwood. Whispered, I didn't forget. The silence in the apartment wasn't sad. It was honest. I didn't ask where they buried him. but I found it anyway. It took 3 phone calls, 2 incorrect plots, and 1 awkward conversation with a cemetery manager named Hal, who offered me a folding chair and some water when I looked like I might faint. The headstone was new. Just his. Name, 2 dates, and a quote that wasn't his. Forever in our hearts. He would have hated that. He once told me, "If you put anything on my stone, make it real. Don't make it soft. I was never soft." I brought a pen with me, one of those old blue ones he used to hoard from the bank. I'd found it in the bottom of the folder, cracked but still working. And I wrote, on the back of a receipt in my wallet, "Remember the peppermint tea. I remember the marbles, the matchsticks. I remember that you remembered me. I'm still here." I folded it and tucked it beneath a loose stone at the base. No flowers, just truth. It came a month later. A plain envelope, no return address, just my name in my mother's handwriting. Sharp, efficient, a little slanted like always. Inside, a check for $500, and a note. "Your grandfather left a few things behind. We sold most of it. Thought you might want this. Hope you're doing okay." No apology, no explanation, no mention of the funeral. No acknowledgement of what they had taken, what they had chosen to keep from me. I folded the check in half, then again, then once more, until it disappeared in the palm of my hand like a paper secret I had no use for. One last thing. I drove. Back one final time. Not to the house, their house now, but to the donation center down the road where Grandpa used to volunteer. They knew him there. The older woman behind the desk smiled when I said his name. He used to bring broken lamps and fix them in the back, she said. Said it gave the light a second chance. I left the check there, quietly. Told them to use it for tools or repairs. Something he would have liked. Then I drove home. No music. Just the road and the knowing. The room they can't touch. I framed the note I left at his grave. Not for display, just for me. It hangs in my hallway now, across from the kitchen. Sometimes I catch it in the corner of my eye when I make tea. I still buy the peppermint kind. I let the window stay open a little too long. The cold comes in, but it feels more honest than the warmth they once offered me. I've stopped waiting for messages. Stopped rereading the old ones. Stopped checking the family group chat I was never added back into. They moved on. But I didn't disappear. I didn't scream or slam a door. I just stayed quiet long enough for the echo to fade. And in that stillness, I heard something softer. Not forgiveness, maybe, but freedom. A life that no longer bends itself toward people who don't make room.